Hi, and thanks for watching another instructional video for CSCI 1300. In this video, we will cover the operations of the for loop. The for loop neatly groups the initialization, condition, and update expressions together. However, it is important to realize that these expressions are not executed together. In step 1, we initialize a counter, which is seen here in red in the first box. The counter is set to a value of 1, and then we move on to step 2, which involves checking the terminating condition, which is specified in the middle portion of the for loop parentheses in between the first semicolon and the second. This says that the counter can continue until it reaches a value of 10, as long as it is less than 10. So while the counter is less than or equal to 10, we can continue to do the for loop. The third step would be to execute the loop body contained within the brackets of the loop itself. So here we are printing the counter to the user. The counter has not updated yet and will only update after we finish printing the entire contents of the loop body or executing all the steps within the brackets that are listed. So in step 4, after we have printed everything or done all of the operations involved with the brackets of the for loop, we can go on and increase the counter by some value or decrease it, or modifying the counter in some way. In this particular example, we're increasing the counter by 1. The counter then becomes a value of 2, and we move on to step 5, where we check the terminating condition one more time. So we're back at the top of our loop, checking for the terminating condition just like a while loop. And here, we have not reached the terminating condition of counter equaling 10, so we continue the steps 3 through 5 in the same order until we get to a step 5 where the counter actually equals a value of 10, which would cause the entire for loop to finish its operation steps. Let's look at this in VS Code. I've declared a for loop and set a variable, an iterative variable called I equal to 1. The terminating condition of the for loop is that I can continue to loop as long as it is less than or equal to 10. So when I reaches 10, it will stop. And lastly, I am increasing I by a value of 1 every time the loop is executed. If we look at this in the terminal, and we check our output, we'll notice that the I variable is being printed here, and that it corresponds with the actual number of loops that we go through. If we were to change this in some way, we could modify the output as follows. Say I wanted to print the loop number, but I wanted to change the I variable. So the I will start at 0 now, and it will go to 10 it'll go to 1 less than 10 than actually going to the value of 10. So we shouldn't be having I iterate from 0 to 9 instead of from 1 to 10, which is exactly 10 iterations. So we're still dealing with 10 iterations overall and should perform the same operation the same way. You can see here that when we print this information, the I variable starts at 0 and goes to a value of 9 and goes through 10 iterations or 10 loops, even though the value was offset. That's all for now. Thanks and happy coding.